Mick Gray chats with Tom Rush, July 2nd, 2026.
Welcome to KMiC Radio. Today, my guest is the legendary singer-songwriter Mr. Tom Rush, unbelievable pioneer in the folk rock scene. And I am just so honored to have you here, Tom. How are you today?
I'm honored to be here. I'm doing just fine.
We started to talk about your property in New Hampshire because I know you were a long time resident of New Hampshire, but tell us about what happened there.
Well, I lived there. Actually, I was born in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, but as an adopted kid, I was whisked away almost immediately, and I grew up in Concord, New Hampshire, where my dad taught at St. Paul's School. I actually went to look at the hospital that I was born in a couple of birthdays ago because I'd never seen it before. It's been converted to an old age home.
Oh.
Is somebody trying to tell me something?
That's amazing.
Anyway, I've lived all over the map. I was in Santa Barbara for a while and Jackson Hole for a while, and I'm now in southern Maine. I'm actually looking at Portsmouth, New Hampshire, across the river.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm back in Maine at this point.
And what happened to that amazing piece of property that you lived in Portsmouth, was it?
I bought this place in Deering, New Hampshire. I was living in New York City, and this is back in the late 60s. Everybody else was moving out to California because that's where the action was. And I just had 5 years with 10 days off total, not in a row. And I didn't want to go where the action was. I wanted to go where the action wasn't. So I moved to New Hampshire. I bought this place in Deering, New Hampshire, and kept adding to the acreage. I've ended up with about 600 acres. My lawyer said entertainers and athletes have this weird thing about privacy. But then I moved out of there, and I moved out to Jackson Hole, and I sold that property, most of it, to the Society for the Protection of New Hampshire Forests, and there's now a 400-acre Tom Rush forest in Deering, New Hampshire.
Oh man!
They gave me a vest with a logo on it.
And I've seen some video of some of that property. You were at one point trying to be a farmer on some of that property.
It didn't work out. I have an enduring respect for farmers. It's not as easy as it seems, folks.
No.
I bought a tractor and everything, and most of the land was grown up to forest, so I was gonna, cut trees and do that. That didn't work out either. It's really hard work.
Oh God.
So I ended up sticking with the music business.
Good thing.
I quit showbiz altogether. It lasted about 9 months, and to run out. And I missed playing for people, so I got back on the road in a much calmer manner. I'd had a band. I had like 6 people on stage and a road manager and a sound person. And it was just too many mouths to feed and too much work to do. And so I got back on stage, but it was just me and a couple of accompanists doing occasional shows, and then it grew from there. And now this is my 68th annual farewell tour.
And
I decided I'm way out ahead of the pack there.
Yeah, and you have a lot on your tour coming up too. This is a pretty big tour.
I'm a busy boy, but I decided I should start the clock when I first got paid to make music, and that would have been street singing in Paris, summer of '59.
Oh my God!
And I went from there to Cambridge and got sucked up into the music scene there because there was just so much good music going on. It was irresistible. And I was an English major, which was kind of boring. So, and when I graduated, I had an English lit degree, and it took me about 10 minutes to figure out people aren't paying me to read books, but people are paying me, not very much, but a little bit to get on stage. So I'll do this until I figure out what I want to do with my life. And basically, I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with my life.
Well, you started, like you say, you started performing. Was it while you were at Harvard?
Yes, it was. Well, it was street singing in Paris, but But yeah, there was a big coffee house scene going on in Cambridge, and there was a club, the Club 47, was one block from my dorm and was just irresistible. They hosted the legends.
How
And
perfect.
they also hosted the kids, myself included, and you got to hang out with the legends, and it was really a wonderful, wonderful scene. And I didn't do that well in English lit because of it.
Because you were getting into that scene there, man.
I was way too busy to read books. Yeah.
I hear you, man. Go back a little bit. How about when as you were growing up? What was some of the first music that made you think you wanted to pursue this?
Well, I started off on the wrong foot. My parents insisted that I take piano lessons because they both wished they had taken piano lessons. And I got this piano teacher whose nickname was the Iron Lady before Margaret Thatcher took it over. And I reduced the Iron Lady to tears on several occasions. It wasn't fun. Nobody explained to me that this music was great music because people actually liked it. For me, it was just manual dexterity exercises over and over and over. No fun at all. But I had an older cousin who played the ukulele. Bo Beals played the uke. And he taught me how to play the uke and sing these really silly songs. Abdul Bulbul Amir, My Father's Whiskers, really funny, silly songs. That was fun.
Yeah.
So I got into music actually through Cousin Bo. And then somewhere around puberty, the ukulele turned into a guitar because I thought it was more manly, and kept going from there.
Yeah, well, around that time, probably rock and roll is starting to creep in.
That was another big inspiration. The late '50s was when Bo Diddley, the Everly Brothers, Elvis, Chuck Berry, all those wonderful players were huge. It only lasted about 4 years. I went back and looked at it. It lasted about 4 years, and it faded away somehow. I don't know why. I think radio people got tired of it. But anyway, the kids in Cambridge got tired of what was on the radio because it was pretty much crap. And we discovered these recordings by these old blues guys.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if you were black and lived in the South, this was no discovery. They were, very famous among that audience, but we'd never heard of them.
Yeah, it never got played on Northern radio or anything.
Yeah, and the Club 47 started bringing them up to Cambridge. And it must have been really disorienting for these dudes because they were used to playing in bars where there was chicken wire in front of the stage because people would throw beer bottles at them. And here they are in a 80-seat coffee house with kids wearing neckties, drinking coffee, and paying rapt attention. It must have been really a mind-bending experience.
Oh, God. Yeah.
But it was a treat, and you could talk to these guys. You could go up to Booker White and say, how do you do that thing you do? And he'd show you.
Oh, God.
It was amazing. So there's a lot of back and forth. And I think the old legends picked up a lot from the kids, too. I think there was a bit of a two-way street there.
Yeah, and so on your first album, Live at the Unicorn, that's you're doing some covers of some of those guys.
I am. That was I was playing this club called the Unicorn, run by Byron Leonardos, whose theory was if you want to build an act, you should give him the same night every week. So I forget, Tuesday night maybe, at the Unicorn, and one Tuesday, this guy comes down the steps and asks if I wanted to make an album. And I said, yeah, sure, because I'd heard that before. Nothing had ever happened. But Danny Flickinger dragged this tape recorder the size of an oven, because that's how big they were, down the steps and recorded 2 Tuesdays in a row, and on his own had this LP made, Live at the Unicorn. He distributed it out of the back seat of his Studebaker, and sold maybe 500 copies. I doubt that many. But I remember going into the Harvard Coop, the biggest record store in town, because I wanted to see my new album on the shelf. It was very exciting. But I was in the folk section, and I called the manager over. I said, I do some traditional folk, yes, but I do some blues as well. So he said, okay. And he moved me into the blues section. And I said, but wait, I also play some country songs. I ended up in miscellaneous. and I learned my lesson about genres.
Yeah, there you go. That's the one. You don't want to be in that miscellaneous. No. But I mean, you were your whole career. You worked off of Miscellanea. You did it. You made it off of that because you were doing country. You were early at doing the country rock scene, really. On your record from '66, Take a Little Walk With Me, has like the first side is all early rock and roll songs.
Yep. At that point, I'd run out of traditional folk and blues that I was excited about. So I had to do it. I owed them an album. I didn't know what to do. So one side is kind of traditional folk and blues, and the other side, as you say, I go back and do some of the rock songs that were exciting to me when I was growing up.
A lot of Bo Diddley, so I can see on that.
Yeah, Bo Diddley.
And the band behind you on that is some of the guys that played with Dylan a little bit earlier, right? Doing some of his rock stuff.
Yep.
Mr. Al Cooper.
My first album for Elektra, actually, John Sebastian told me it was his second paid gig.
Wow.
Way back when. But yeah, and then I totally ran out of folk songs that were interesting, and now 2 years went by, and I owed Jack Holzman at Elektra another album. I didn't know what to do, and Joni Mitchell, James Taylor, and Jackson Browne all showed up within about 6 months of each other, and I loved those songs. So
yeah, that's amazing.
That album, The Circle Game, named after Joni's song. Rolling Stone magazine accused me of ushering in the singer-songwriter era. They never proved anything. I was never indicted.
If that was your claim to fame, I think that's a pretty good thing to have ushered in.
Well, these three writers are just so good.
Yeah.
And the fact that all three of them were being introduced on one LP, I think got people's attention.
Yeah, like is there any story you can tell us about hearing any of those people for the first time and just going, whoa, you know?
Well, yes, in fact, I can. Jackson Browne actually was not a performer at that time, but Elektra Records had his publishing rights, so I got to hear his publishing demos, and that's how I met Jackson. But Joni, I was playing a club in Detroit, Michigan called the Chessmate, and Joni came in one night and asked the owner if she could do a few songs, a quick guest set, so that I could hear some of her new songs and maybe record them, which worked out rather well. And she got up and did 4 tunes, including The Urge for Going, which just knocked my socks off.
Yeah.
And she came off stage, and I asked her if she had any more new songs because I needed an album quick.
Yeah.
And she said basically no, but give me a minute.
Oh my God.
And a few weeks later sent me a tape with 8 songs, brilliant songs. But just before the last song on the tape, she apologized for the upcoming tune. She said, I just finished writing this. It's not much good. I'm so embarrassed. Here it is. And it was The Circle Game. I named the album after it. She didn't think it was any good, but everybody else does.
It's kind of the way, you hear that a lot from artists where let's say they're getting ready to cut a single and they go, oh no, that one will never go. That one's just the worst one that I have. And then it becomes one of the most popular songs.
Yeah, it can happen.
Yeah.
There's a book out called And Then I Wrote. I think that's the title. Interviews with writers of famous songs. And they, over and over in this book, writer after writer says, well, this one just kind of happened all by itself. I wrote it in 5 minutes. Those are the good ones usually.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's such an amazing time. I can imagine, and I've heard James Taylor speak about. Well, I was in England and I came back, and one of my heroes, Tom Rush, had recorded one of my songs, and it set me in the right direction to take off on my career.
He has said in public that basically without me he wouldn't be in the music business.
Yeah.
Which that would be a shame, wouldn't it?
Think of all the artists. I mean, my God, seems like through your whole career you've been very interested in what happens next? What's the next cool thing that happens in music? And you've invited artists onto your albums and to perform with you that might not be known that much from people, and you've kind of given them a little showcase.
Well, let's talk about the Freight and Salvage show coming up.
It is. It's coming up on what, the 20? Is that the 24th?
I
think
what
so.
am I looking at here? I can't.
Hold on, I'll tell you. I got it open right
Okay.
here. Freight and Salvage, for all you people that are listening in this area in Central Coast of California area or the Bay Area. He's going to be at the Freight and Salvage in Berkeley on July 24th. He's going to be at Mendocino on the 23rd. He's going to be in Grass Valley on the 22nd and Santa Monica on the 25th. This guy is busy. And then on the 29th at San Juan Capistrano at the Coach House. And then he's also going down and playing the great Belly Up Tavern in Solano Beach. Great place. But that's only partial of your tour. You're touring all across the country until October.
Well, actually, that's when my calendar stops. I'm booking February now at this point.
So you really don't want to
anyway,
slow down, Tom.
The reason I wanted to bring up the
Berkeley
Freight and Salvage gig, or all of them, I'm going to have this kid with me as my accompanist. His name is Brendan Cleary. Look him up.
Yeah.
He's a monster. And I saw him playing in a bar. He's a youngster. He's around 30.
Wow.
Anybody under 50 is a youngster, from my perspective.
Me too.
But I heard him in a bar, and I thought, this kid's way too good to be playing in bars. And I asked him in January if he'd like to come on the road with me. And he's a monster talent. He's as good as anybody I've ever heard.
Finger picker?
And finger picker. He doesn't play piano. He plays guitar, sings great, and writes amazing songs. And he'll be doing a few songs on his own during the course of the show. I'm hoping to build his audience to where when he's playing stadiums, he might invite me to open the shows.
I love this about you, that you care about that.
Well, it's so hard now. In particular, it is so hard to get started. The record company used to do everything. They used to get you on the radio, on TV. They'd support your tour. It doesn't work that way anymore. The record companies are pretty useless. And 20,000 plays on Spotify won't even buy you a cup of coffee. So getting out of the bars and onto real stages is a major challenge. And I've got this series going on Spotify, on Patreon, called Rockport Sundays. And they're little 15-minute episodes posted every Sunday. They stay up for about 8 weeks. But a lot of my guests have been these youngsters who I've never heard of, but damn, they're good.
That's amazing.
I mean, as good as they blow my socks off the way Joni did.
That's a great idea too. So if we sign up through your Patreon, we can get in and watch these
Absolutely.
little episodes that you put together. Fantastic. Where do we go from here? Oh, I wanted to ask you about one of the big songs in your career, No Regrets. What was that? How did it come about? Was it one of those songs that was just like came to you? Or was it something you worked on a little bit?
No, it was written pretty quickly. For those of you out there who don't know No Regrets, it's a song about the end of a long love affair. And it's by far the song of mine that's by far been covered by other artists. Emmylou Harris and Waylon Jennings and on and on and on.
Walker Brothers, Midge Ure, it's been covered many times.
Yeah, U2 covered it.
Wow.
And I wrote it, it's about the end of a long love affair, where the guy is saying, it's over, I don't regret anything, but I don't want to get back together. We're done. I wrote it, I was living in Cambridge, and there was this girl in New York that I was really entranced about. And she flew up to Cambridge from New York and spent the weekend with me, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'd never spent that much time with anybody before. And on Monday morning, I took her back to Logan Airport to put her on a plane home. And it felt strange walking away by myself. And I went back to my apartment and wrote No Regrets about the end of a long love affair that actually then came to be. We had a long love affair and we broke up.
Wow.
I actually just got an email from her today. She
What?
lives in way off in the east.
Still in contact with the muse of No Regrets.
Yeah, she's the girl. If you have the cover of the Circle Game album, she's the girl standing behind my shoulder.
And the Circle Game is sort of a concept record from the beginning to the end of a relationship.
Yeah, you're probably the only person who ever got that. But
Well, I read about it. I might not have noticed it, but yeah, because I remember you talking about. It says in the liner notes, concept Tom Rush, and
Right.
people were wondering what the concept was.
what the hell are you talking about?
But when
Yeah,
you
it's-
hear it, when you know it, then you listen to it, you can hear it totally.
Yeah, the songs in sequence depict basically the evolution of a love affair, but it's pretty subtle. If I didn't point it out, you wouldn't spot it.
But what a record! That is a record right there, man. It's well put together, man.
Thank you.
Let's go through. Seeing we're talking about songs, let's go through a couple and get your thoughts and comments on them. How about Child Song from Murray McLaughlin? That one seems like it became huge, you doing it, and the emotions behind it really gave it another life live.
Well, it is one of the best songs ever written. I was playing with my guitarist was a guy named Trevor Veach, who was a Canadian, and we were up in Toronto playing a club in Toronto, the Riverboat. And Trevor said, he spent a lot of time in Toronto. He said, I got this friend Murray McLaughlin. I'm going to have him come over and sing some songs for you. And we sat on the edge of the stage, and he sang me several songs, including the Child's Song. I said, oh. It took me about 6 months to toughen up enough to get through it without bursting into tears.
That's the way that song is. Even you can hear it when I listen to you, even your studio version of it. It just grabs you by the heart.
It's an amazing, amazing song. And for you folks out there who might want to come to a show, I give you fair warning.
Bring some tissues.
I want to make you laugh, but I also want to make you cry. I'm basically after emotional whiplash here. And the Child's Song is one of those. Oh, good Lord! It's about a kid leaving home, moving out of his home for the first time, and it is so true, and so simple. It amazes me, actually, that a lot of other artists haven't picked up on that song, but it is a challenge to do it. To do it right, you have to do it very, very simply. If you dress it up with a lot of strings and horns and stuff, it does not work.
Yeah.
So just doing it as simply as possible
the way.
makes it happen.
That's the way, man. What about this is a really great instrumental that you use sometimes to go in and out of No Regrets. Rockport Sunday.
Rockport Sunday.
How'd that come about? And to me, when I listen to it, I hear, I don't know. I looked around. I couldn't find any information on if anybody had covered it or if it had been redone. But it seems like I'm a big fan of instrumentals, and it seems like I've heard an instrumental that has that feel to it, and I don't know what I have in my mind.
I don't know either. Do you have anything in your mind?
Not much. But that one, I don't know where. Either somebody else has picked up on part of the riff and used it in an instrumental, or I don't know what it is. But how did that come for you?
It's the theme song behind the Rockport Sundays video series for Patreon.
Ah, perfect.
I wrote this instrumental, and I was trying to mimic the sounds of a seaport town. And I've got church bells in there, and I've got waves crashing on the shore, and I've got seagulls.
Yeah.
And I was going to call it Newport Sunday, But then I thought, no, Newport has too much baggage. And I loved Rockport, Massachusetts. And I did a little research, and there's actually something like 17 Rockports in the United States.
Oh, wow.
Most of which aren't nowhere near the ocean. But I decided that would be a good name for it. And I ended up living in Rockport, Massachusetts.
Oh, wow.
Not too long ago, a few years ago.
Seems...
But that's what the instrumental's about.
Yeah.
I'm trying to elicit church bells and seagulls and waves.
It seems like a lot of connections in some of your songs about the sea, sailing, things like that. Do you have a boat? Do you sail?
I am not. I'm living right now on the Piscataqua River that divides New Hampshire and Maine. And I've got a dock, but I'm renting it out. I get seasick. I don't go out on boats much.
But you sing about it a little bit.
I sing a lot about boats. The latest album, Gardens Old, Flowers New,
Yes.
starts with a song called Sailing, which was the #1 song on Margarita Radio for months and months and months, except for a couple of tunes by some guy named, Jimmy Buffet.
Oh,
like
yeah, that guy, yeah. I've heard
him. But it's a song saying, let's go sailing.
It's fantastic.
There's a lot of water and boats in the songs I write. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I was a seagull on a...
Prior life, you just have it in you. It's just there because you can emote it through your songs. That's all you need.
It works.
It does.
I'm not gonna argue.
Oh my God! In the 70s, you got into a very what I call the country rock scene. You were doing a lot of music that was like pretty driving, and it was good stuff. You want to talk about that era of your music at all?
Well, that was when I had a band on the road with me. 6 or 7 people on stage. Yeah. Plus a sound man and a road manager and blah blah blah. When I got so exhausted that I couldn't keep going. But yeah, I love that music, and the band enabled me to be able to go in that direction.
Yeah.
It wasn't the kind of music that I thought would sound good solo or...
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it worked, man. So you used
it was fun.
Yeah, you used your country influences, and it really worked for you there, man. Talk about a few people that you've worked with, on the What I Know album from 2009, you have Emmylou Harris and you have Nanci Griffith, a couple wonderful, wonderful artists.
Well, I helped Nanci. I can't claim to have helped Emmy get started. We've actually got a show coming up in September in Nashville, a fundraiser, but that's for another time. But Nanci Griffith was... I used to do these shows at Symphony Hall in Boston called Club 47 shows, named after the coffee house where I really got my start. And I would get a couple of well-known artists. By that time I was kind of well-known. And maybe David Bromberg. Yeah. And then a couple of new kids that you've never heard of, but boy, are they good. And I'd browbeat everybody into playing with one another. And it started out as one night at Symphony Hall, Boston, in between Christmas and New Year's. I tried to get in there for several years, and they laughed at me. They said, "No, we're closed between Christmas and New Year's. Nobody goes out between Christmas and New Year's." Everybody knew that nobody goes out. Finally, they with a giggle, they said, "Okay, kid, you can have the 28th of December. Good luck." And I sold it out.
Oh, my God.
And then the next year, I sold out 2 nights. And it was televised on PBS. And the next year I sold out 3 nights. And finally the Boston Symphony light bulb went on. They said, wait, people do go out.
Ka-ching!
And now between Christmas and New Year's, the Boston Pops has everything booked solid.
Wow.
But through ignorance, I opened that floodgate. But the shows then started going down to Carnegie Hall and the Kennedy Center and major halls all over the country. Yeah. But part of the mission was to introduce these new kids to a wider audience. and give them a start, get them out of the coffee houses and onto the concert stages, which worked out rather well for Nancy Griffith and a few others.
Wow. So Nancy was doing some early shows with you in these situations?
Yes, she was.
Wow. Unbelievable.
I remember, I can't remember, I think it might have been at Carnegie Hall. Her family came, and she was supposed to do 20 minutes. And at 25 minutes, she doesn't show any signs of slowing down. And I had to walk out. She finished a song. I walked out, Nancy Griffith. She was pissed at me.
Oh, my God.
But
she was ready to just keep going.
We only had so much time.
Yeah.
You know, we had to be off stage by 11 or whatever. And there were other artists that needed to get their time in.
And the PBS recording of one of these shows, I've seen some of that, and there's a lot of people involved on stage. There's maybe 10 people or more on stage at I've seen of it.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff.
There were a couple of recordings, and Emmy Lou was on one of them. I remember the one that was going to be televised for PBS. They gave me a TV producer, and we were talking, and he says, "Well, Tom, you're really good, and blah blah blah, but we need some more name power here. Who do you have?" And so I started rattling off names, and I got to Emmy Lou, and he said, "Stop right there. That's the one we want." And I said, "Well, we're asking her to come to Boston between Christmas and New Year's for a couple of days. I don't know, but I'll call her manager." So I picked up the phone, called her manager, who laughed at me, said, 2 days between Christmas and New Year's? I don't think so. But wait, she's on the other line. And he puts me on hold, comes back in about 5 minutes and says, "Son of a gun, she says you're one of the 2 guys in the world she can't say no to." And I should have said, "Can I rephrase the question?" But I didn't.
When do you think you first met Emmylou Harris?
I met Emmylou, now I'm blanking on the name, Bill Danoff, in Bill Danoff's apartment. I can't remember where it was. Bill and Taffy Danoff, who wrote Afternoon Delight and a bunch of other really great songs.
Yeah.
And I met her. She was sitting on the floor, and I was sitting on the couch, and she sang Boulder to Birmingham for me.
Oh my God!
And I said, "Oh dear, I want to take this girl on the road with me." But my wife at the time was there and said, "No, that's not happening." I don't know what was wrong with her, but
oh my God,
she disapproved.
Yeah, that's outrageous. What do you think that was like? What's that? 70, 75? 74?
Probably earlier,
Yeah.
72, 73 maybe.
Yeah, gosh. That's it. That's at the beginning of her career, yeah. Crazy. Yeah, let's talk about the latest record, Gardens Old, Flowers New. It was over 60 years after your first release. How do you look at that? How do you look at that career arc that went from the Live at the Unicorn to Gardens Old, Flowers New?
Basically, I don't.
Don't even think about it. Just keep moving forward, right?
I'm much more interested in what's happening right now and getting ready for tomorrow.
Living in the moment is really where it's at for all of us.
Yeah. And so far it's worked well.
Yeah.
But my accompanist then, Matt Nakoa, nagged me about making an album. Now, Matt is a brilliant musician, way brilliant. Piano player, now he's a brilliant guitar player, singer, songwriter, performer, and he kind of graduated from me because he was, for about 4 months at the end of last year, he was in Spain writing music for a Broadway play.
Oh, wow.
Which was why I had to shop around and find somebody else, and came up with Brendan Cleary, who was a great choice. Anyway, Matt was saying, "We got to make you a new album." And it turns out he's also a brilliant record producer. And we sat down and we picked the songs. He said, "No, let's not do that one. Let's do this one." And picked the musicians to play it. Hired a studio in Connecticut, and we went in there for a week, and boom, we have an album. And I think it's my best so far. I wrote all the songs. I've written more songs in the past 10 years than in the first 50 years of my career.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, the line, Gardens Old, Flowers New, is from a song about Sienna, my daughter. I wrote this song when she was a baby. She's now 26. And Sienna's playing in the garden. She loves to watch the sky for airplanes. She laughs and claps and waves and cries bye-bye. This garden's old, the flowers new. Meaning that watching your kid grow up is something that's happened for thousands of years. Every time it's different. The garden is old, but the flowers are new. Matt decided in this context, I was the old garden and the songs were the new flowers.
Oh my God.
And I said, oh, okay, all right, if you
That's
insist.
great. I just listened to that song this morning before the interview, and that's a wonderful song.
That's another one that gets people crying.
Yeah, it's another one that just grabs you by the heart, man. Unbelievable. Another guy you worked with, you mentioned him earlier, and he's a great instrumentalist, Mr. David Bromberg. When did you first meet him and get connected with him? You did a little bit he was on a couple of your albums, right?
Right. I think the first time, I'd have to ask him. He's retired now.
Yeah.
But I think the first time we worked together was when I was recording for Columbia. And my producer, whoever that was, hired him to come on and play on the album. In fact, you mentioned we talked about the Child song. The recording of that on the album is something like take 96.
Whoa.
We did it over and over and over, and it just didn't sound right to me. And finally, we got David Bromberg to sit in an isolation booth and play along with me. And that elicited the performance that I'd been looking for. Then we didn't use Bromberg's guitar part.
Oh my God.
He disappeared. But
That's wild, because most of the time, artists, when I talk to them, they say, the more I do a song, the less life goes out of it. And we'll do it 50 times, and then we'll go back and just use the first one. But in this case, you did it 90 times or whatever, and just his playing
right.
did it for you.
Now, mind you, it wasn't 90 times in one day.
Yes.
It was over a couple of weeks when we were making the album.
Yeah.
And I think we only did it once that day when Bromberg was there.
Yeah. That's amazing.
And I sounded great. I didn't care for his part, but it somehow it spoke to me when I was singing.
Wow.
Maybe it just distracted me, got me off worrying about, maybe this will be, I don't know.
Even though you didn't use his part, you can say thank you to him for giving me the inspiration.
I'm really, by the way, I don't mean to disrupt the flow here, but I'm really looking forward to coming to the Freight and Salvage, which now I think they're just calling the Freight.
Yeah, it's a great room. It is a great room.
Were you around for the first?
I think I went to like maybe one show at the old venue, but yeah, I've been to many at the new.
The old venue, I love the old venue. And the story, which I hope is true, and I can't remember the name of the woman who started Freight and Salvage, but she bought this building that had been some kind of freight and salvage operation.
Yeah.
And she spent all her money cleaning it out and putting up a stage and getting a sound system. She didn't have enough money left over to change the sign outside.
That's how the name came about?
And that's why it's called Freight and Salvage.
Oh my God.
She ran out of money.
What a history of that room, or that the way it's moved through the years and become something now is just a beautiful, beautiful venue.
Oh, it's exquisite.
Yeah.
And it always was, but it was pretty rustic.
Yeah.
In its first incarceration.
Incarceration. Perfect wording. Perfect wording.
Maybe that's not the word I'm looking for.
Oh man. I wanted to ask you about a fella that you were pretty close with, Mr. Gordon Lightfoot. Could you tell me something about him? Because we loved him so much, and such a great artist, and you guys were pretty tight.
We were pretty tight. I didn't see much of him. I was very, very honored. He was being given a Lifetime Achievement Award somewhere up in Toronto, in Canada, and he wanted me to come up and present it to him, which I couldn't do because I had some other commitment. But then toward the end of his career, he did 3 shows at Massey Hall in Toronto, which is like 2,500, maybe 3,000 seats.
Historic building.
Well, they'd been closed for a bunch of years for renovation, a $20 jillion renovation.
Whoa.
Gordon was the last to play there before they shut down.
Whoa.
They wanted him to be the first to open when they reopened. And he had 3 nights sold out a year in advance at this major hall.
Whoa.
And he broke his wrist.
Oh.
And he thought he was going to have to cancel all 3 nights, but then he figured out that with physical therapy and a lot of practice, he could do it. He could do an hour show, but he couldn't do a 90-minute show.
Yeah.
So would I come up and do a 30-minute opener for him the first 2 nights, which was a huge honor.
Man.
And we got some hang time, and it was the last time I saw him. And the hall was glorious. But he gave me this weird introduction both nights. He said, Tom was the first to record Joni Mitchell and James Taylor and Jackson Browne, but he never recorded any of my songs. So I got to go out there and say, well, I got 30 minutes tonight, 30 minutes tomorrow. I could do the first half of Edmonds Fitzgerald tonight.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
The crowd loved it.
But I think I heard you say that, well, if I don't see any way I can improve on a song, I really don't need to do it. And you kind of felt that way about Gordon, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, he did them just right. My technique in doing other people's songs is basically to listen to the recording, their recording of it, over and over until I've learned the song, and then I won't listen to the original again.
Yeah.
Because I want it to drift off in my direction.
Yes.
And become a different song. I think one of the best examples of that is Drift Away.
Oh, yeah.
I did a solo version of Drift Away. I'm accompanied by a cello.
It's beautiful.
And it's a great song. If you just listen to the words, day after day I'm more confused. I can relate to that.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, beautiful song. Mick Gray had a monster hit with all those horns and screaming guitars and, all that stuff. But I realized as I started learning it, this is a whole different song than what Mick Gray did.
Yeah.
And I love the song.
That's what you've done with anytime you have covered a song, you've interpreted it as Tom Rush and made it something different and wonderful.
Well, thank you.
One more thing that I heard Gordon Lightfoot say about you is you're the best live performer he's probably ever seen.
Well, thank you, Gordon.
That's something to be said from a guy by the name of Gordon Lightfoot, man. Pretty amazing.
Well, you're right. That's a biggie. That's a biggie. And
pretty cool.
I appreciate it.
He was something. Well, you're something too, my friend, and I'm so happy that we got to talk. This has been a total honor for me. Remember, everybody, there's these shows coming up all through California in July. This month, you go. When do you start? You start on the 11th in Pennsylvania, and you're off for a lot of July all the way to California. You got a bunch of California gigs here.
Go to TomRush.com, folks. Click on shows. It'll give you the whole menu and links right to the ticket pages. Come on by. We're going to have some fun.
Gotta do it. Thank you, Mr. Tom Rush. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Mick. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, buddy. I thank you so much for being here. And it's been just a great opportunity and honor for me to talk to you.
Well, thank you. And I feel the same way. Let's do it again.
Have a great tour, man. We will.
Okay.
Take it easy, buddy.
You too. Bye-bye.
Adios.